Like I have like one basic one that I try to do every year or every season, but more and more, the more I do this, the more I see how important it actually is. That might descend at any moment. So, I mean, I knew this was like a hard season for me. I've been using like a kind of digital almanac of the year in Notion. I would like to master fire like early man. Hello Cinnamon Bun, this is a bit of an odd angle, I know, but we're not going to be here for long. I just have my camera set up like on my desk tripod for filming like my desk, and I'm about to film my desk, so I didn't want to take it down, so here we are. Hi, a vlog. It's been a while. This is very strange to talk to you up there. I feel like you're God. Okay, so I cleared my schedule today because I was expecting apocalyptic cramps, and I basically wound down my month, and normally I'd be resting, but it's been a very normal day so far, and so I've been like, oh, okay, what am I gonna do with today in that case? And so I've decided what I want to do with this like unexpectedly spare day is start making some of the transitions from spring into summer. I'm basically in this like long, slow, iterative process of trying to figure out what I want my like yearly routines to be, like how I want to work with and celebrate the seasons and the wheel of the year. And historically summer is a very like unmagical, unplugged in kind of time for me. I tend to just like get on with things and focus a lot more on work, and I often like don't really feel very connected to like more spiritual stuff, and don't really feel like I make the most of the season and try to take advantage of the benefits of the season in the same way that I do in winter. I guess because it's like a little bit easier to take for granted in the summer, because you're like, you've got the long days, it's warmer, it's easier to, well, most of the time it's easier to work with the weather, at least here in Scotland. And so I want to just go into this summer, 2022, like a little bit more intentionally. And if you watched one of my previous journal setups, you'll see that I did like a seasonal log, like a seasonal spread for the 3 months of spring, trying to give my seasons a bit more of a structure in terms of planning, but then also like, I guess like spiritually and celebrating and stuff as well. So I'd like to do that for summer as well, and then maybe iterate a bit on that process, see what worked, see what didn't. So one of the things I want to do is actually kind of close off that spring spread, fill in the like mini reviews of each month. I won't set up my summer log today because I'll save that for my next journal setup, but that's going to be in a few days anyway, so that's fine. I've been using like a kind of digital almanac of the year in Notion, and basically I was transferring like old notes and stuff that I had in other places into that, and there's a lot of it, so I didn't do it all at once. I basically made a note to myself of like, okay, at the start of the next season, make sure that you transfer the next season of stuff. So I'd like to do that. I've also got some ideas of maybe some ways that I'd like to simplify that system, so I can show you that. One of the things that one of the habits or routines that I want to get into is changing out my linens for the season. Just in the other room, I like to swap out the cushion covers and like the blanket, and sometimes my bed sheets and stuff as well. And I know I have ones for summer now, so I'd like to do that. I've been thinking of trying to figure out what is like one kind of spiritual or more like seasonal tradition or ritual that I have for each season, and simplifying it to just that as like one thing that I can repeatably do every year, instead of feeling like, you know, obviously there are so many traditions and rituals and stuff that can go along with each season, and so when you're just looking at the smorgasbord of everything you can do, it can be a bit overwhelming. So I kind of like the idea of limiting it down to like, I have like one basic one that I try to do every year or every season, and then anything else on top of that is bonus. So I already know what those are for For winter, it is putting up my tree, what I think of as my Yule tree, and I've got kind of ritualized elements around that. So that's pretty simple. Autumn, I feel like I had another one. What was it? Oh, I put up like a Memento Mori shrine every autumn, and I've been doing that for a few years now. I don't know what I want to do for spring. Spring's just passed and I never came up with what I want to do for that. But I think I know what I want mine to be for summer. So one of my dreams in the long term is to live in a place where I have a small amount of outdoor space so that I can have a fire pit. I've always wanted a fire pit. I just love fire, and at the moment I've never like lived in a house with a fireplace or anything, so I don't really know a lot about making and using and tending fires safely, and that's something I would like to learn. As I said in Asda to Pete the other day, I would like to master fire like early man. Like, I have very few ambitions for like a dream house or somewhere that I want to live in the future. Like, most of my needs are met by where I am now, which is obviously a very lucky position to be in. But one of the things that I do want in the long term, like one of the dream house situations, is I would love a fire pit. In the meantime, I would like a portable fire pit, or like a portable barbecue, like a reusable one that I can use, that I can take out. Even though I don't have my own outdoor space, I could take it out to, you know, places that I'm legally allowed to have fires. And I saw this kind of cool bucket like portable fire pit thing in the shop a week or two ago, and I didn't pick it. I forgot to go back and pick it up. And then when I went back, it wasn't there anymore. So I'd like to maybe go online and see if I can find that same thing again, or see if there are alternatives, and maybe buy myself like a portable fire pit, because I think I would like that to be my summer ritual. I want to have a fire pit for summer because I want to be able to take it out and do barbecues and just bonfires, and yeah, I just want to be able to do that. So I'm going to look that up today as well. So I'm still expecting cramps today. I've just had some, but they've passed, so we'll see. I think it's good that a lot of the stuff I can do from the house. Like I say, I feel fine right now, but I just want to be mindful that that might descend at any moment. So I don't want to be too far from the house if that happens. Will you will. Okay, so come along with me as I shift into summer mode, whatever the fuck that means. So, my spread for spring, I've like totally dropped off with checking these off as I went through, so let's just cross all these weeks off. So I guess this was my first time trying this like solar list thing of like, you know, like a couple wee tasks seasonally that I wanted to do each month, and I didn't do a lot of it, to be honest. So I did swap out my linens. I didn't really decorate other than the linens. I did not clean and prep my bike. I've not touched that in months, so I'd like to maybe carry that over. I did go and catch some cherry blossoms though while they were blooming, so that's nice. And then none of the May stuff I did either. Taking down decor, again, there wasn't any decor, so that's fine. And I'm wanting to like update the almanac and kind of map out the next season now, even though it's a little bit late because now we're in June. So this column here is going to be for my little review of the season, which I'm just going to take from, let's see if there's a page that I can show you that's not too personal. Yeah, so this is just an example of what my kind of like, what I call my reap and review that I do at the end of each month looks like. It's basically just a little list of how the month went, and I mark the things that were good, like, or that I got done, or that were nice, with little hearts, and then I mark like challenges and things that were rough or complicated or difficult or obstacles with a little lightning bolt, and it just helps to like kind of like sift through and look at like how the month went, and I honestly think this is one of the things that I do in terms of planning that often is the easiest to feel that it's kind of frivolous, or that it is like, you know, a luxury of time that I shouldn't really take, or that I shouldn't really have, or that like is not really important. But more and more, the more I do this, the more I see how important it actually is, because like I think so many people, and I, like so many people, feel like, you know, making goals, you know, deciding how you want the month to go, or a particular period of time to go, is important. But then bookending it to actually get that feeling of completion, to be like, okay, here's how I wanted it to go, and then how did it actually go? Like, those are two sides of the same coin. Those are like a natural counterbalance to each other. Like, if you're only ever starting, if you're only ever opening the book and then opening the book and opening the book, like, that feels really stressful, right? You never get that feeling of like completion and reward. Whereas if you're opening and then closing and then opening and then closing, like, that just feels a lot better for me. So I have these little like monthly overviews anyway, of like just the key things that were going on that month. And what I want to do for this spring spread is basically go through them for March, April and May, and just pull out like an even smaller summary of just the key most important things that happened that month, so that I can see them all together and get like an overview of my entire season. How useful this is going to be, I don't know yet, because I've never done it before, but we're going to see. But I kind of like the idea of getting like a bit of a bigger picture of my season, and luckily, because I do this in more detail every month, that is very easy information for me to find. So it's not like I have to sift through 3 months of stuff for this to actually get that kind of bird's eye view. So I might as well use that information because I've got it. Okay, enough explaining. I'm going to get on with this now. We're going to film this, and if it's too personal, I will just cut it. Okay, one small observation is that after completing this, and again seeing the reminder of like, holy shit, look at all the things I was dealing with, I feel absolutely no guilt about not doing this. Like, this month was, or last month, May, was mental. Of course I didn't get to that, that's totally fine. Okay, so my first ever review of the season, kind of recap. Yeah, it's kind of wild to see like that amount of time summarized. I think my takeaway from it is, well, just like practically, I do like this layout for this spread. I think I would maybe even want like a little extra space to like kind of write a little, or even just a few notes of like summarizing how I feel about it as a whole. But I could just do that on a new page, to be honest, as well, and then just like index it or whatever. But anyway, yeah, but like looking back, I mean, I knew this was like a hard season for me. I have been physically ill for most of it, and dealing with some like personal issues in my relationships, which have been really hard and really scary and a lot to deal with. Like, it involves other people, so I'm not going to get into it, but some stuff that was really tough and really upsetting, but also like kind of seeing the progression of like those issues like arising and looking at like where I am now and where we are now, like, is kind of heartening. Like, I can see like the progress there. I feel like I'm in a much better place, much more stable place with things, and that feels kind of spring, that feels like on topic for spring, right? There is this kind of like feeling of like, oh god, everything's so hard, and then this kind of like, but things are like sprouting and healing and coming back, so that's kind of interesting. And then the other thing is just like seeing like how much I had on my plate over these last 3 months, and all of the challenges of that, you know, physical stuff, relationship stuff, and seeing that I was still just like crawling forward creatively through all of that pretty much. And obviously my progress was really frustrating for me for a lot of that time, you know, because I wasn't getting things done at the pace that I wanted to because of all of these other things. But just seeing like I have made like really good progress considering how much there has been getting in the way. Yeah, I've made this kind of shift in my business and my creative practice to focusing on like a broader spectrum of things creatively and in terms of like product design and stuff other than just writing. And I have created a lot actually in the last 3 months, just not a lot of it is visible yet for you, because it's like larger projects that aren't public yet, but like on the back end, like I can see like, oh, I finished that thing, oh, I started that thing, oh, I've made significant progress on that. So yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess, and like a perspective, that kind of like bird's eye view perspective that I wouldn't necessarily get when I'm just thinking about month to month. So yeah, I think I would do this again.
Someone sets light to the first fire of autumn.
that'll do. Okay, so some quick research on one of these like bucket barbecue things that I want to get. Can't find them at all in Asda or Tesco, even though I've seen them in person in both of those places, so I don't know if they're sold out or maybe they got discontinued. I can't find them there, and they weren't there in person at Asda, but they do have them in B&Q. I think there's only one, and it's like, it looks quite small, so I don't know, but there is a B&Q either a half-hour walk or a 10-minute cycle away, so I've made a note of that. I thought about doing it today, and then I was like, Rachel, might be the first day of your period, maybe not the best idea to cycle somewhere you've never been before, and not know if you can actually carry back the thing that you want to buy on a bike and stuff, so yeah. Not today. I realised also that a barbecue and a fire pit are two different things, because you burn charcoal or wood, and you may or may not be cooking on them. I would love to learn to cook on a fire pit. Let's walk before we crawl. No, other way around. Let's crawl before we walk, though. I want to get good at barbecuing. Not even necessarily cooking well on a barbecue, just like using one. I want to learn that first, and then I'll progress to fire pits. I want to be my own dad. It's actually really nice outside now, so I kind of want to get out there. Maybe I'll just take a break and go for a walk or a cycle. Maybe I'll just fucking cycle to B&Q. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go. Fuck it. It's a beautiful day, at least for the moment. Kind of want to get out the house anyway. I want to enjoy a bit of the weather. It's a bit of a walk, so it's like a half-hour walk there and then a half-hour walk back, so that's going to be like an hour of walking. But I kind of know where I'm going, and I know that there's like a bit of that that's along the canal, which is really pretty. Yeah, fuck it, let's go. And I think I'm going to bring you with me, which is the first time I've taken my camera with me anywhere in quite a while. Okay, let's see what this thing is like. Obsessed with this diagram that tells you please don't try and do a barbecue inside a van. Just perfect.
Weeks to spend in your 20s, which to the jam was a lot worse, which obviously means that it worked. That's it.
Is the little girl in the dream your childhood self or Nina Azarova's childhood self?
Hello. Wow, it's so much darker in here. And that is because it is almost 9 p.m. So I got home and I was honestly just totally knackered. So I had some food and watched some things on the sofa. I watched an episode of the OA, which I started and watched, like, there's 2 seasons of it, right? And it's this like sci-fi, well, it's categorized as sci-fi. I would say it's more of like a metaphysical drama. I watched like the first 1.5 seasons of it like years ago and I never came back to it, and I always just, it was one of those things I didn't want to finish because it was so good I didn't want it to be over, and now it's been years. Yeah, so I decided to go back to that because apparently like late luteal, like menstrual phase, is when I like to just get my head absolutely fucked and just have my reality turned inside out. So it's really good. I was watching an episode I've watched before to try and remind myself of what's going on, but after that I found myself getting a bit restless and stuff again, so I think I need to do something else. I was just like putzing about on my phone and stuff, and I can tell that means that I need to do something more engaging. I think I'm gonna noodle about with that almanac, so that's gonna be the rest of my evening, really. And then I'm gonna go to bed. But it's been a good day. It has been a good day. Yeah, so this is a gallery layout of my almanac in Notion. I made the cards large so that it would be 4 to a line so that I can keep the seasons separate. So you can see I've got one for spring and then each of the months in spring: March, April, May. Spring for here in Scotland where I am, and then summer and June, July, August, etc. And I just have these set to use the page covers as the images, and I've just went and picked those from Unsplash, as you can through Notion. So basically, like when I had this in the old format, I went back and forth between if I wanted to have like, you know, just one page or one section for each season, or if I wanted for the individual months as well. And then if so, because basically what I use this for is like, if I've got some free time or some time off, or I want to do something like of the season, I would check like the almanac on my phone, look at like ideas for practices and activities, or food or things I want to do in that season. But I kept running into the issue of like, there are some things that are associated with basically the entire season, and then there are some things which are kind of specific to one month. And I wanted to be able to see both of those at the same time. So this is what I ended up doing. I'll use summer because that's what we're in. So if I open this page, this will, oh, it looks okay in this little peek view anyway. So this is summer. I use the sunflower emoji for summer, and this is the image that I picked. So I have these two big call out blocks, which are actually synced blocks, and I'll show you what that does in a second, which has all of my kind of like associations for summer. I basically break mine down into several different categories, and I use these same categories across all the almanac. Even if it's empty at the time, I still have like a placeholder for it so that if I have stuff to add, I can. And that is festivities, what's going on nature and outdoors, themes of the season, practices and activities, and then food, correspondences, and media. And so I have these, which are all generalized towards all of summer. Like these are things that either happen throughout summer or that I can take advantage of all throughout summer that aren't like tied to a specific month, basically. And so what I've done is created, basically copy and pasted these and made them synced blocks in my other summer pages. So if we go into July, which we're in right now, or I guess it was June probably that I was updating back then I have these same blocks synced. So I've pasted them here, and this red line means that it's synced. So it means that if I edit something here, then it will automatically update in all the other places where it's synced as well. So that way I can have like, here's the general stuff for summer in all of the pages, but then I'm also in this page specifically for July, which has like separate sections for, okay, these are the parts of it which only apply to July. For July, there's not that many, but this is still really useful for like other seasons where like in December, for instance, there's a lot of stuff that's specific to December because of like Christmas and stuff that isn't necessarily applicable to all of winter, let's say. So yeah, that's kind of how I've had my almanac set up. That's it. That's my digital almanac for the year. And hello, Cinnamon Bun. Welcome to the end of this video, which is so long overdue. Yeah, I am recording this like credits voiceover on the 4th of August, and I filmed this video on at the start of June, at the start of summer. So it's taken me a while, which has been quite frustrating in some ways, but I kind of know exactly why it's taken that long for me to finish this and get it out. Basically, I've been overhauling several different areas of my business in the last 2 months. We've been totally redoing from the ground up the way that we do like the financials and how I do like money planning and all of that for like the entire year, starting with a new accountant. I've overhauled my entire Patreon, and I've been getting like a new creative project off the ground where I'm working with an illustrator and we're collaborating on that, and it's a totally new medium as well. So there's just been a lot on the go, and so videos have taken a little bit more of a back seat, which kind of had to happen but has also been a little bit frustrating for me. But I can tell you that going forward, I'm going to be trying to basically stick to a rhythm of one new video a month at least. And for my newsletter, which I send out per video, that's also going to be going out twice a month actually. So one with a video and then one for just something else, just an update. So I just wanted to let you know, if you like my work, if you like my videos, you might enjoy my newsletter. It is genuinely like a little letter in your inbox, just kind of like an update of what's been going on, and I like to include a bunch of fun little sections about what videos we have on at the moment and have on what videos are kind of have recently gone up on my channel. I like to do a little almanac update to check in with like where we are in cycles and seasons, and just like share cool things that I've come across. So if you're not already signed up to my newsletter, you can do that here. I really need to learn the link for that so that I can say it in these voiceovers, but it's on the screen. RachelStephen.com. Go there, you can sign up to my newsletter and get those updates. Like I say, videos once a month, newsletter twice a month. And then the other thing, which I can talk about, which is exciting, as I said, I've overhauled my entire Patreon. So basically the main benefit of that Patreon used to be this monthly live stream called the Clubhouse, and we've replaced that with two benefits for the two different tiers. We have one, our cinnamon bun tier is $2 a month, and then cherry Danish I think is already sold out, and that's like $6 a month. We've replaced that with two new benefits I'm really excited about. So if you join the Patreon, you get access to basically a patron exclusive library of my content. So you get access to all the previous Clubhouse live stream replays, and I'm also going to be putting out a new post or article or video or addition to that library every month as well. At the moment, obviously, we've just started it, so we've got one new piece of content, which is a quick start guide to the Constellation system, which is like the practical magical organisational system that I use that you might have seen in my bullet journal videos. So it's like a quick start guide to that. That was our first one, and then we have some of the previous Clubhouse live streams up there as well, all time-stamped and everything for you to refer to. And obviously we're going to build that up over time. So if that is of interest to you, wow, that was my shoulder popping. I don't know if you could hear that. I went to boxing yesterday and oh my god, I was so sore. Yeah, if that sounds of interest to you, do check out the Patreon and consider becoming a patron. I'm grateful for however long you might spend as a patron, or even if you just consider it. That's pretty cool of you, so thank you. And thank you to all my existing patrons, new and old. You guys are the best. And we've also overhauled our Discord server now, so it's a bit more holistic and not so writing focused, and I just love it in there. Like, we have like the best people. We have people that just like run their own co-working sessions even when I'm not around. Like, it's a really cool little community, so you also get that with the Patreon too. Okay, this is a really long outro now. That's everything. Hope you're doing okay, hope you're taking care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.